Last episode I built an almost but not quite working 50s style crane and decorated the dock to bring the whole area to life. This time I slap a new building down in the dockyard, jam a moss farm in it and continue with the dockyard expansion. But before we get started, I do want to touch on the subject of the Create Interactive mod, as about 90% of my comments last episode were saying I should use this mod, and it is a great mod. Shouted a video on it if you want to know more, but there's a number of reasons why I won't be adding it to this world. The main one being it's not actually available on this Minecraft version. But also, if I were to add it, about half of my world would break, as I rely on trains being able to pass through solid objects to make certain farms work, and also, of course, to make all my trucks and vans work, and the boat, and so on. So basically, no. I won't be adding it. And the same for Valkyrian skies and clockwork and all those sorts of things that could make this airship move. I don't want that in my world. I don't need it. So I'm not going to be adding those either. But in saying that, I do, of course, appreciate all the feedback on the crane, where, you know, that Create Interactive mod would probably have come in useful. But we've had loads of other great ideas for that as well, so we'll definitely revisit it at some point. Probably when I wrap my head around more of Create's features and capabilities. But now we've got that all cleared up, let's make some plans for a moss farm. And as you can see between episodes, I have put in another road, because I have decided I do want to have a yard over here. And I think we're going to use this area here to create a moss farm. We're just going to stick a big factory in. We're probably going to make it look fairly similar to sort of other things we've got going on, at least palette-wise, and then we're going to make a funky moss farm. We'll worry about the farm later, but I do have some interesting ideas for that. For now, I do just want to get a building down here, which means I need to go grab some blocks and come up with some kind of a layout. So back over here at main storage, we're going to grab some tuff. I think I want to use that. And do we want dark oak? We want spruce. Ooh, I don't really know. Let's take a bit of both. And if I can remember where I put them, I want to grab some of those Dean bricks as well, because they were a cool colour. Aha, there they are. So we're going to grab a bunch of these. Although it is a mossy building, maybe we could experiment and maybe try these? I don't know. I mean, if it's going to be a moss farm, a little bit of green on the outside might look quite nice. I think I might want to have like a big sort of metallic section on this one as well, so we'll take some stone and andesite, which we can turn into pillar blocks. And roof-wise, maybe we can try some of this Viridium stuff, or alternatively, I think I might take some acacia. It kind of depends which one of these two bricks we end up building out of. We'll use the opposite for the roof. At least that's my thinking. Lastly, let's grab some glass. Now, platform-wise, let's think about this. We're going to need a little entrance where at least the trucks can get in, because we're probably going to need to be dropping stuff off and picking stuff up and so on. So let's have a little side road here, maybe, and then bring it in a little bit so we've got some sort of turning area. I think we'll bring this side all the way down to the corner, and we're just going to square off the road here. And what might be cool, actually, I don't really want to have it butted right up against that wall, so we could have sort of a foot entrance, I guess, down the side here. Maybe something like this, because that way we can still have trucks come in, and then maybe just have them sort of reverse out and drive off and so on. And this could just be like a small car park or something, or we could even just overhang the building so that this actually becomes like a covered yard or something. I don't know. Let's just get this foundation filled in first. That should do it. Now let's mark out some buildings. So I am going to give these bricks a go, but I don't know if we'll stick with them or not. Yeah, I really don't know about these, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick with them. We'll build up the whole building, and if I still don't like them, then we'll rip them out and change them for something else. Now, what else did I bring with me? So the dark oak. Maybe we could have like a big tall dark oak bit at the front here. Although I don't just want to use the normal dark oak logs. Let's go see what we can make in the airship. Which, to be honest, at this stage, I should probably think about moving that airship and bringing it down by the docks. But I can't be bothered right now, so let's see what we can find. What have we got? What does the firewood dark oak logs look like? Okay, that's quite nice, actually. Yeah, maybe we'll make some of these. And I think I might try and integrate a little bit of granite as well, potentially. Let's have a little play about in the rain here. So I think I want this bit here pretty much boxed off, because that's where we can then put the bulk of the farm. We're maybe only out to about there. Give ourselves a bit of a loading bay area. So maybe something like that, and then we can just have like a low roof area here, because we are actually going to need to process cobble into stone before we can then sort of do things. I've got a bit of an idea of how I want this farm to work. So we can have a low building there, have a big towery bit here just for effect, and have this essentially as the main sort of moss farm area. And we'll probably be able to get rid of all these bits here on the inside for the tower as well, but we'll leave them in for now just so I can see what I'm doing. And I suppose what I should do is get all these walls built up and see how we're looking. I'll see you in a moment, and hopefully the weather will be a bit better then as well. Pesky rain. And I think for a basic shape that should work. Just imagine there's some roofs on it, and yeah, hopefully you can see what I can see. But once we get an angled roof on here, we'll put flat roofs probably on these two here. We've got plenty of space in here for a moss farm, and we can even knock this wall back a bit further if we need to. I think we should be set. And I think I've decided that I don't really want to use these green bricks here. So I'm going to get those swapped out for these Dean bricks. I think it's just going to fit better for the area. And then I'll get some roofs on, and once I've done all of that, I'll bring you back in, and hopefully, although it's not really going to have much detail on it, at least we'll have a building here and we can make a start on the moss farm. And there we go. I mean, it all still needs prettifying, but I think that's absolutely fine for now. We've got the roofs on, and I've sorted out the inside space here a little bit too, because the way that this kind of overhangs out the front means I need to have some wood or something there, and yeah, I've decided just to put a little floor in, but we'll see if we need that or not. But thankfully, we've got lots of space to build a moss farm, and I could just do a vanilla moss farm. They're very good, they're very efficient, and they don't cost too much to do. But where's the fun in that? We're here in Create, so I'm gonna try and mess around with like timing things, and I don't know really. I really don't have much of an idea at all yet, but we're gonna try and do something that's a bit more interesting than just a normal vanilla moss farm. And for this farm to work, we have a few steps we need to do. The first step is to import cobble from the warehouse and then cook that and turn it into stone. And then I want to try and build something where we use deployers to sort of place the stone, and then maybe other deployers and moss blocks and things to turn it into moss. And then I want to move that platform somewhere else, and then I want to get the moss blocks out of it. So there could be a lot of trial and error here. Before we do this though, we are looking a little bit low on the create things that we're going to need, and of course we need to bring power over here as well. But to be honest, getting power should be easy enough. Yep, it's literally right there. And just like that, we've got power. That was nice and easy. But yes, I am going to need a bunch of other things that I just don't have here, such as bolts and drills and shafts and all sorts. So let's go craft some stuff and sleep the night away, and then we can make a start on this farm. A short while later, and my Create backpack's looking much better than it did earlier, and we should have everything we need to be able to at least make a start on this farm. And we're going to be making that start over here in this corner, I think, just with a small vault. Oh, go on then, we'll make it a bigger vault. If we just dig out a couple of bits of the floor there, we're going to put those in. We'll have a portable storage interface there, and a couple of funnels. And that's basically where we're going to be dropping off the cobble. And the next thing I want to be doing is cooking that cobble, and I think the best way to do that is going to be to take a stack, split it into 3, bring it over to probably here somewhere to quickly get these belts on, put some tunnels on there so it all gets split, and we'll put that there. And we should probably give this power as well, but I don't want this to be fast. I want this to be quite slow because we want to give it time to cook as it goes over this way. So let's grab some gearboxes and encased chain drives. We should probably make a few more of those actually. I have a feeling we're going to be needing a bunch. Then what I'll do is I'll stick a big old cog there, the rotational speed controller underneath. 16's probably about right, I would imagine. And then we just need to get that connected up to the power. So that should just about do it. And yes, that looks like a good speed. Let's just get these bits covered up, and we'll get this looking a little bit nicer as well. Good stuff, that's fairly straightforward. Right, so now what we need to do is figure out the next part. And that is going to be the cooking. So we need fans. To get these powered, we're going to use more chain drives, but we're going to have 2 rows of fans, because that way it should cook a little bit quicker, I believe. Going to put some depots at the end, just so stuff doesn't actually get thrown into the lava. And then if we grab a spruce straw, stick that there, a brass funnel that feeds into it, and we grab a mechanical arm, tell it to grab from there, there, and there, and put it in there, but only if it's stone. Still going to need to get power to these, so let's get these connected up. I think in order to do that, what we might actually do is go back underground. So if I do that, then I can just connect this underground to the rest of the power. And they're going the right way. Wonderful. Then I'll add a few copycat panels here just to contain the lava. Speaking of which, let's quickly grab some. If we place lava there, and lava... Nope, not there. And lava there. Wonderful. So what I forgot to do was actually place the mechanical arm, so let's actually do that again and put the arm down. Clever Beardy. Then we'll just steal a bit more power from down here for the mechanical arm. Small cog should do it. Let's just make sure he's going to do his job. We've got a tiny bit of cobble here, and it cooks before the end, although that was only like 1 piece. But the mechanical arm's doing his thing. But this is good. We're now turning cobble into stone. Not really the goal of today's episode, but definitely what we needed to do to begin with. May as well make use of all the cobble we are bringing over from the industrial zone after all. Now this is where things are going to start getting a bit more interesting, because what I need to do is figure out how I actually want this to work. The first thing I need to do is to get this stone placed into probably about a 5x5 platform, and for that I think I want to make use of gantries. And if I was to put 5 deployers down like this, then we can have that go 5 spaces this way, and that will place a 5x5 grid of stone, and then just wheel its way back again. And that will be the first part of the sequence we want to build up here. But in order to do that, it is, of course, going to need the stone. So let's quickly get this linked up. So we'll have it come out here and go this way into the side of that storage interface, and then we'll have a receiving one here. So I guess that's where we'll place the barrel, and the other storage interface there. And let's just get that all glued together. Then we'll stick a sequence gear shift on the end here. We want that to move the piston 5 meters one way and then 5 meters the other way. We're going to need to get this thing some power as well, so let's just do that so we've got a bit of room for options. And yeah, maybe just connect it underneath again, I think. So that's power all hooked up. Now let's quickly give this a pulse and see what happens. Okay, it seems to be sort of not doing what I want it to do. And I think that's to do with all of this, but on reflection, I reckon I can simplify this just by sticking a barrel right there and having this as the bit that moves with the contraption. So we'll stick that there, we'll grab our super glue, we'll get rid of this bit, we'll just glue those together. But now maybe that'll work. So if we do that, goes into there, and it's in the barrel. Excellent. And if we do this, wow, he's quick. But it did place the 4 stone we had. However, I really need to slow this down, like, massively. So let's just do what we did on the other side and jam in a rotational speed controller, and we'll just route the power around this way instead. And I think if we set this to about 32, that'll probably be more than enough. So let's try that now. That's a much nicer speed. In fact, let's maybe go a tiny bit faster. How are we looking now? Yeah, that feels pretty good. Because as usual, we're not going for efficiency, we're going for how cool we can make it look. So let's just dump a bunch of stone in here for testing purposes and build my platform. Wonderful. So once we've done that, the next thing we want to do is to turn all of this into moss. And for that, we're going to need a moss block, which I didn't bring with me. That was silly. And apparently I don't have a single one here either. That's a bit awkward. But I am fairly sure if we head to the back of our underground bit here, pretty sure there's a lush cave around here somewhere. Aha, here we are. Yoink. Right, so for mossing all of this stuff up, what I want to do, I think, is have that moss block a block above, because that way it can convert all 5 of these, hopefully. So what we want this to do is to come up this way and then go back, and then when it gets back, that's when we want to start mossing things up. So let's see if we can make use of some redstone contacts. Do I have any? Yes, we have absolutely loads of them. Right, so that's what we want to do. Ah, or maybe not, because that seems to have powered the gantry, and I believe if you power a gantry, it turns it off. So maybe if we do that instead, and glue that one to that one. And then we'll use that pulse to set off a deployment arm, which is going to bone mill this, and then that's going to turn all of that into moss. So let's stick a deployer there. And something else we need to consider is that once we bone mill this can often end up having like an azalea or a carpet or something like that on it, and that means that it won't be able to get bone milled again. So we need to clear the top here, and I think the best way for us to do that is just going to be having a drill set off to the side here. So if we do that, that will constantly break anything that appears here. If we do this, that should power both of those. We've just got to get that now connected to some form of power and only have it trigger when it needs to. Right. How are we going to do this? I mean, I can still power from here if I do that. Bring that up, then do that, that. Excellent, that's doing its thing. However, we only want this to set off when it gets a redstone pulse, and I'm wondering, if we put it directly next to this thing, is that going to work? If we make this do maybe 2 rotations, that should be enough to bone meal it a couple of times to make sure we get as much as possible. So let's see if it's going to work. We'll send it off. Then when it comes back, does this kick in? It does. Okay, that is amazing. When it comes to bone mill, for now, I'm literally just going to stick a chute on top of there, grab myself a spruce straw, and if we head back to Beardstone Valley, in our mob farm, we have thousands of bones, so I'm just going to chuck loads in there for now. Yep, look at that. We've got 27,000. Way more than we need. And if we put these bones through the crushing wheel, I think we also get... Yeah, definitely. Look at that. We're getting loads more bone meal than we normally would. And some white dye as well. How lovely. And it appears as though Zloy's been over here putting up more health and safety signs as well. And in fact, while we wait for these bones to grind down, I do just want to take a moment to say a huge thank you to everyone who's purchased merch so far from the brand new merch store, you wonderful people. And I have noticed this design in particular has been getting a lot of love in mug and magnet form, so thank you for that. And I have actually had a few people asking who did the artwork for these, and I clearly didn't make it obvious enough last episode, but it was actually Zloy that designed all of these for me, and I absolutely love them. And there we go, just over 15,000 bone meal should keep this thing going for a while. So let's test fire again, and this time it should turn that into mossy stuff. Okay, pretty good, but maybe you could do with one more pulse. So if we tell this to do another 360-degree turn, then I guess this isn't really a fair test because some of it's already mossy. Wait a minute, how did you place those? We'll just pretend it didn't for now. But it doesn't seem to want to moss up these three here, and I guess that's probably because it actually has blocks above them, so that kind of makes sense. We'll work with it for now. We'll wait till we get the whole thing a little bit more automated before we figure out exactly how well that's working. But the next thing I want to do is to move all of this over to here. And I think I have a plan on how to do that using a mechanical bearing, some linear chassis, and some super glue. So if we put the linear chassis in there, and quickly break these for now because we need to actually super glue these. Although, to be honest, it's probably only worth taking the two either side. The middle row just isn't really going to convert. Which I guess means we don't really need a deployer there either because those blocks are never going to go. And in fact, let's completely swap out these blocks altogether so they don't turn to moss and make me sad that they never move. Some nice industrial iron. Yes, perfect. But if we just put this moss back there, stick a mechanical bearing there, then if we grab this power from here, do that. Grab a gearbox and another sequenced gear shift. If we put that in there, tell it to rotate 180 degrees. And the way that these work is when you put glue on them like that, they basically grab an amount of blocks in front of them. It's currently set to 8, but we know that there's only 5 there. So if we set these to 5, it should keep it a little bit more precise. And this one here, when we hover over it, we don't get the white boxes. So that tells us there's no glue on it, which is exactly how we want it. And in theory, when we power this, it should take all of these blocks and flip them over and put them there. Let's give it a go. Okay, almost. Went in the wrong direction. So if we do that... Okay, that's basically what we want it doing, just, yep, snapping into place over here. So we want it to do that after this has got back, and then pulsed to do that, and then we need it to do this. How are we going to get the timing for that? Oh, jeez. Okay, I think I've got an idea. If we were to put that there... Okay, so this is a pulse extender, and if we put a delay of, say, 20 ticks, which is a second... and send that pulse out this way, just bring it up with a couple of observers, and send that signal along to there. Is that going to work? Maybe I need that as well. Let's quickly break these so the farm's completely reset, as if we've already broken these with something. I don't know how we're going to do that yet. And then let's press the button, see what happens. Oh, geez. Right, okay, we need to stick everything together for a start. Let's put that in there. Let's try that again. So, nope, still not working. Let's get all that stuck together. Third time's the charm. Okay, there we go. So it's placing those. Then it's turning them into moss. And then it flips them. Oh, this is so cool. Oh, I'm very happy. Now we just need to break all of these blocks. I reckon if we were to use mechanical bearings again and make a big sort of like slammer type thing, once again, if we glue these bits here, make sure they're set to only grab 5 blocks. Put another mechanical bearing there. Get power to it this way, but of course we do want one of these. And we want it to turn 90 degrees and then turn 90 degrees the other way. Hopefully that's the right way, otherwise it could end up destroying loads of this. But we'll see in a minute, I guess. Jeez. Right, let's grab some shafts. Get those in there. And in regards to powering this, you kind of want to wait for this one to power. And then maybe like a second later, power this one. So if we put another pulse repeater in, set that to 20 ticks. And I've run out of redstone, apparently. That's annoying. But it's okay. We've got plenty more at Beardstone Valley. I mean, those waystones are an absolute time save. I love it. This recording session would have been about 2 hours longer by now if I didn't have those. Which is great, because it means I can get more done. But I'm hoping this works, because my initial thought was actually just to use drills for this. I was just going to have some drills underneath, so as soon as it got placed, the drills would fire. But then I figured that's going to be a lot of drills and quite a lot of power. So I'm hoping that this might work instead. If not, we'll revert back to the drills, but I'm hoping we can avoid that. Everything should be set now. We just got to hope this goes the right way. Let's press the button and find out, shall we? So it places blocks. Does that, spins round, and yeah, it went the wrong way. Of course it went the wrong way. Jeez, right, so that way and that way. So let's run this for a couple of cycles, and it should get sorted out, as in this wouldn't already be mossy, and this would be clear. So boom, yes, it works, it breaks them. Okay, cool. So I guess the last thing to happen after this is to basically just go back down here and fire this again, right? So, ooh, maybe we can take a signal off of that. So this one fires a second later. So if we were to put a 2-second timer here, I have no idea if this is going to work or not. But hopefully, that means that once I press this button, it should just keep going round and round. See what happens. And it should do it correctly now, because that won't have moss. So that happens, and then this fires again. Oh yes, look at that. I can't believe this works. This is amazing. And this is why I love Create. It may be way less efficient than a normal moss farm, but it's a lot more fun. Although I'll tell you what, we don't really want the moss getting stuck on these, so let's get rid of that. Look at all this moss we're getting. Okay, cool. Well, I'm very pleased with all of this. For now, let's stop it from working, because we need to build some kind of a collection system, and we can see it's literally flying out all over the place. So we need to try and contain this somehow. And I'm wondering, as long as I don't put anything on this bottom row here that would block the gantry, I might be able to build up a wall here that just kind of hides all of this movie stuff here, and we'll see the actual machine working, but it will stop all of the moss flying out over there. But this ledge here is also catching stuff, so maybe I just don't have a ledge there at all? Let's just quickly run it for a moment and see exactly where stuff is getting stuck. So for the most part, it's just getting stuck on this bit here, but we can probably just put some glass blocks on there. It's getting stuck on this bit here, but I don't really care about that. Oh, and it's just falling into the mechanics down here, but if we build a wall, that'll solve that as well. So I think we're going to be all right. And a little while later, we're looking a lot better. We've got some walls up, we've got everything just generally working better, and we've got some glass on this side as well. So from the ground floor, you can see everything working, and it all basically just gets fed down into these chutes. Those chutes are feeding into these drawer controller slaves, which are all linked up to the same network that we have down here already. So we're actually storing the moss here, but everything else we're just converting into bone meal and then sending that back up to the top of the farm. I mean, it's not going to be enough bone meal to keep the farm running, but, well, there's no point letting it go to waste, I suppose. And I've also added a threshold switch as well, just so once we've got a couple of thousand moss, it'll turn off, because, well, we're not going to need loads at any one time, are we? It's just moss after all. But with that, at least the farm itself is now working. It's all looking fairly nice, at least in there. But what isn't looking nice is the rest of the factory. We haven't even got windows in. And the outside just, well, it needs a lot of work, doesn't it? Let's be honest. There we go. That's better. I think we're all done here, at least in regards to making it look nice. I've also put up some safety barriers on the interior and just added a few boxes and crates around just to make the inside look a bit better. But now what I need to work out is delivery. So we basically need to make sure we're bringing cobble over here so that we've got plenty in storage ready for when we need more moss. And then we need to figure out how to get the moss to the main warehouse. And I wonder if maybe we can use this same delivery truck here to do some of those things. But currently the only way we can get cobble out of there is via a train, which is no help at all. So I think what I'm going to do is make use of this area we have here. It's next to the warehouses, it's close to where the actual storage drawer controller is, and this way we can just link up lots and lots of different things so that, well, eventually whatever we need anywhere else, we can use trucks to come and pick it all up. So I think it makes sense to start from this side. We'll get the cobble over there first, and then we'll figure out how to get the moss over here, hopefully in today's episode, but we'll see how we're doing for time. And if not, we'll do that next episode. But for now, let's see where we want to go. Probably around here somewhere. So let's dig down and see where we end up. Oh, look at that. There's drawers right there already. There we go. There's a whole bunch of stations for us. Now we need to get the track in, which is going to be interesting because it needs to go directly on this line here, where we actually have our stations for this bit over there. So, although, to be honest, it looks like we've still got an extra block of space down here, and that's the level that the rail goes on, so we can probably get away with it after all. And after a whole bunch of messing around later, I think I've finally got the schedule sorted. So after here, as you can see, the truck now leaves, and it should pull into a station I've set up over here. I have had to pull the wall back a little bit just to make sure that it doesn't clip it on its way round. But if we have a little look at him go in here. Look at that, wonderful stuff. And then when it sets off, it will be empty again, so it will go over here to the kelp factory. and then it will just do its normal kelp routes, and after that, carry on with the cobble routes. It's kind of got 2 delivery routes, I guess, one after the other. And I've also set a threshold switch here, so once this vault is 3/4 full, it'll actually turn off the things all the way over here, these ones, and basically lock them. So even when the truck comes into the station, it's not just going to get full up with cobble and not be able to pick up kelp, and vice versa. Sadly, that is all we've got time for today, so we're going to have to sort out the delivery of the moss over to this warehouse in the next episode, but I've got a pretty cool idea for a yard for that. But I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye now.